All right, this is the special voting meeting for February the 13th. We did the Pledge of Allegiance already. Mr. Martino, would you call the roll, please?
Here.
Mrs. Bites.
Here.
Mr. Kurtz.
Here.
Mr. Martino here. Mr. Lucas O'Neill.
Here.
Mr. Potts.
Here.
Mr. Rathke.
Yep.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Mr. Dowski.
Here.
Mr. Wolf.
Here. Under announcements, there is one edit. Remove 6A1B, Carol Pirtle, transfer, and then add B, motion to approve the following resignation of the same person, Carol Pirtle.
So just so I understand, we're, in essence, DEC has nobody here right now?
No, that's my understanding. There's no secretary,
No guidance.
guide secretary.
Guidance.
Okay. Okay, under finance, first item A. Motion to approve the 2017-2018 preliminary general fund budget in the amount of $56,336,312 with real estate tax millage of 31.09 mils per Act 1 of 2006 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dowski, second by Mr. Potts. Board discussion.
Just to state, like I did at the last meeting for the record, that this is not a vote to raise taxes, it's just a procedural step. It goes back to the exceptions, which we haven't used in the past.
Correct. We are not making any final decisions on our budget tonight. We're just leaving our options open.
Fine.
I have some comments, and let me apologize in advance. They're not short, they're not popular, they're not personal. And Mr. Harris and Mr. Wolf have both seen portions of this. But I listened to the finance recording because I couldn't attend the meeting, and I have a lot of comments.
Can I go to the back and get back in time for the vote?
You get back in time, I'll still be talking. It's been obvious for the past year that I disagree wholeheartedly with many of the financial decisions that have been made and or proposed by both the administration and other board members. Business in the real world that spends money it can't afford and then raises prices excessively soon goes out of business. In the academic world, however, money spent that doesn't exist, contracts are signed that are unaffordable. Instead of going out of business, the academic world simply turns to the captive audience of taxpayers and says, give us more and more and more ad infinitum. There's no such thing as a capped school property tax. I'll be the first to admit I see no way to budget our budget as required by law without raising school property taxes this year and for the next several years. My objection is that even without raising taxes for some of the past several years, our school property taxes are still among the highest in the county, and we haven't yet maximized our cost control. There's seemingly little regard for the elderly and others in our community who are living on fixed incomes. With commercial developers publicly stating they don't build here because of exorbitant school property taxes, our response is to raise those taxes even higher. So let me start with the board, since the board has absolute control over all expenditures. We, with me voting no, approved support staff and teacher contracts that pay out more than we offered and that we couldn't afford without increasing taxes. Rather than continuing to negotiate to hold down salary, benefit, and health care costs and to eliminate burdensome work rules, we settled. And before I hear the cry of lack of respect for the teachers, nothing could be farther from the truth. Too many people seem to confuse the term respect under quality education with money. Throwing money at education doesn't improve it. I've sat in several classrooms and I'm quite impressed with the ability and patience exercised by the teachers I've observed. But, and it's a huge but, our teachers are among the highest paid in Pennsylvania. Our revenue stream doesn't support that kind of expenditure, and neither does our middle-of-the-pack state scholastic performance ranking. I don't begrudge employees asking for more money. I do blame the board for approving contracts which include money we don't have. There also seems to be a reluctance by some members to staff strictly according to our long-established guidelines. It's as if, heaven forbid, someone moves into the district and puts a class one student over the guideline, there'd be catastrophic results. The 25 in a class calling for 24 would ruin education forever for those in that class. Forgetting, of course, that our attendance rate indicates that there's seldom be every seat filled every day anyway. The administration, instead of having a comprehensive plan, seems to use a scattergun approach, changing plans monthly. For instance, after a well-prepared One Boone presentation, there was an immediate segue into talking of establish a community school, an idea neither shared with nor approved by the board, and totally contrary to the One Boone concept. Then there's location. 1 minute we're hearing the administration's moving to the high school, the next minute to BEC. The fact of the matter is there's no reason to move anywhere. River Rock would like additional space but doesn't want the whole building. There's a whole unused top floor in this building they could rent, part of which they're already using rent-free. With ample space right here being the APC, moving to BEC would leave 2 half-empty buildings instead of having BEC available to lease. We also have administrators in unauthorized positions. If it's not done before then, I intend to make a motion at the February 27th voting meeting to return Mr. Isselman to his authorized position in BEC and Mrs. Kiesel to her administrative position. Or if these positions aren't needed, then we should eliminate them. Regarding teacher staffing, simple math indicates a reduction of 5 to 6 elementary school teachers based on declining enrollment, yet the administration keeps stating 2 or 3. I passed out the proposed staffing, and that includes 2 second grades and 2 fifth grades, as Mr. Harris pointed out to me, and it still mathematically comes out to 6, or 5 if we assume first grade will increase beyond what's in kindergarten. It's not the job of the administration or the board, for that matter, to preserve unnecessary jobs. In the middle school, I keep hearing that regardless of declining enrollment, we can't reduce teacher positions because we utilize the team concept, a concept not used in our elementary or high school. When I ask why we don't eliminate the team concept, as that would enable a reduction, I'm told all middle schools operate that way. First of all of anything that's inefficient doesn't mean we have to do it too. Secondly, there are different concepts in other districts, so the term all doesn't apply. Columbia School District in Lancaster County, for instance, has an elementary school of K to 4, a middle school for 5 to 6, a middle school for 7 to 8, and the high school is 9 to 12. So it's clear everyone doesn't have to do the same thing, but instead should do what's most productive and efficient for them. We need to start thinking in terms of what we can do, not what we can't do. Secretaries. Last year I railed against having 17 secretaries for 17 administrators. This year there are 18 for 17. Now one just resigned that I hear we're not replacing, so we're back to 17 for 17. Most of these secretaries work throughout the summer, even though the administrative offices are reduced to a 4-day week and schools closed. I've asked since before being elected to the board for desk audits to be done to justify expenses, but the next desk audit I see will be the first. In summary, this district is still more than $80 million in debt, has millions of dollars in capital improvements that will be required even before that debt's paid off. PSER's costs continue to increase, and our 5-year budget forecast projects an annual school property tax increase every year in order to maintain even a minimal fund balance. So I'll ask again, how much is too much in terms of spending and school property taxes? That's my comment about the budget.
Any other board comment? Mr. Martino, would you do a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Walden. Mrs. Bites?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mr. Martino, no. Mr. Otis O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Potts?
Yes.
Mr. Rasko?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Dowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-1.
Moving on to personnel. Do I have a motion for any of the items on personnel? As amended.
First 6, yes, as amended, 6A and B.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dowski, second by Ms. Mr. Rathgeb. Discussion? Do we do a voice vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Are there any presentations by the public on any issues? You're all the public, Mr. Cockle.
I have too much.
I need a motion for adjournment. Motion. We are adjourned.